Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing what does the future on Amazon look like? We're going to be talking about a company you may have heard of, Carbon6. How did it begin? We're going to talk about where do brands have their biggest setbacks, their mistakes, and what does selling on Amazon look like in 2023 going into 2024. All right, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
Okay, like I just mentioned, we are here. It's a little bit different format today, but we're going to be talking about what does the future on selling on Amazon look like. Our guest, like I mentioned, we're talking Carbon6 today. Our guest is the founder of Carbon6. He's seeing brands a lack of essential. Let's try this again. Back up. Seeing brands' lack of essential software tools and educations that help them push their limits and crush their market. He founded Carbon6. He's trained over 700 entrepreneurs, teaching them how to run their businesses to their potential. Our guest today is most proud of raising, get this, over $3 billion. That's B with a billion, B for billion, for charities over the last 10 years and working in city centers across the country. Today, I'm talking about Justin Cobb. He's the first time on the podcast, hopefully not the last. And Kelsey, let's go to a sponsor and then we'll come right back. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by VAA Philippines. Looking for a high-quality virtual assistant for your business? With the rigorous screening, intensive Amazon and Walmart training, and ongoing professional development, get the peace of mind with skilled and motivated virtual assistants for a long-term working relationship. Hire through VAA today, and now let's get back to the show. All right, where is the mayor of Blunderville?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I made a few blunders myself on that.
You sure did.
I guess I didn't have enough coffee this morning.
You
screwed that right up.
Give you a layup, write the script, give it everything, all you have to do is just read it. But
I guess I didn't read it beforehand.
Maybe episode 489 will be the day. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe it'll be the first time that I actually get through the intros, right?
So I don't know
what the hell is happening. Go on, you can talk.
So it is Labor Day, and there just happens to be a jet show going by my house right now.
I thought you were just hungry.
No, there's the Blue Angels have come in, and they've been here for 4 days straight now at 12 p.m. So it's been just fantastic.
Yeah, it's perfect for the podcast.
Yeah, they just know it. All right. Well, I do want to say hello to our Beard Nation. We've got Cool Hand 99 joining us. We've got Drip Fit. Yes, happy Labor Day to everyone. We've got Chuck joining us too. Good to see you, Chuck. And Cool Hand's got his Lunch with Norm mug filled.
Perfect. Me
awesome.
Too.
Great. It's going to be a great episode. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to put them over in the comment sections. And we have episode 500 coming up too, which is pretty exciting. So for those of you who haven't heard, we've got episode 500 coming September 29th on the Friday. If you want to submit a video of your favorite memory, of a tip you learned, your favorite episode, feel free to just email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, or send a video through Facebook, and we're going to make a little montage of that. So just let us know. Or if you want to come on live as well, we're going to be sending out links to the Beard Nation to come and say hi. And it's going to be a great episode. And looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're planning on, it's going to be a longer episode. It's not going to be a 1 hour. We're going to make it into sort of a 4-hour event. We're going to have past guests on, a couple of bloopers, but it's going to be really good. A few panel discussions. It's going to be educational. It's going to be fun. So if you can join us on September the 29th, please do so. It's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, A lot of the people that have been on in the past have been providing us with some really cool gifts. So we're planning on giving away roughly $25,000 to one person. And also we're going to have multiple smaller giveaways as well. So here's the catch though. You have to be live to grab that $25,000 prize. But anyways, September the 29th, put it on your calendar, and hopefully we see you there. Also, if you want to be on a panel, that would be fantastic. So we're looking for a couple of people that to come on, listeners that love the show and come on, or if you don't love the show, let's see if we could spice it up a bit. That'll be fun. All right. So the other thing is, let's bring Kels on for just one more second.
All right.
You, what did you hit? 47,000 likes now?
I thought, yeah, something like that. I think we're doing pretty well there.
Yeah, your quest for 10,000 followers, right?
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard, I'm doing a kind of Amazon discount TikTok channel. Doing it for, I think this is my 3rd month now. And yeah, we're close to 10,000 followers. If you want to support it, it's LWN Deals on TikTok. You can check it out. And yeah, doing pretty well. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's just a challenge. We're trying to get to 100,000 viewers by the end of the year. And this is across different platforms. Kelsey took over the TikTok side of things. And he's ended up over, this was last month, but he had 2 viral videos, 260 or 70,000 for the one, 180,000 for the other. And then a bunch of 20,000 and 10,000, 17,000. But just the average day is, always building a little bit more, but a little bit less, a little bit more. But really great to see how we're doing this. This is all going to come up in January, and we're just going to give a summary, add some content. This is all free, by the way, how Amazon sellers could find and hire influencers, what you could do to be your own brand ambassador, and what happens if you want to do a side hustle. So we always give those figures at on Fridays, what kind of dollars we're making or what we're seeing. Sponsorships. Now the sponsorships, last week Kelsey had 15 that came in, and like he mentioned actually on one of the videos last weekend, was that he wants to be completely transparent with everything. So he just told everybody that if you see this, that means I'm making money and I'm not filling up my feed with this. Anyways, he got a lot of really good response to just being completely transparent. But that's it. Questions, answers, or questions and comments over in the comment section. Let's see, sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks for having me, Norm.
There's the man.
Good man, Norm.
It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too.
I wish I was sitting where you were. Palm trees in the back, unless that's a screen thing, and I know it's not.
No, it's not. It's the backyard down here in Puerto Rico. There's some inconveniences. The weather is not a negative.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people have been talking about your company over the last year. All of a sudden it came, nobody heard of it. And then all of a sudden it was here and it's all over. What the heck? Why did you come up, or how did you come up with the concept of Carbon6? I knew I blew the intro, by the way. So let's just go from there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a previous career, Norm, that I worked real hard at. I built a business. It's an outsourced sales and marketing business. I moved all over Europe and the States while building it, and moved down to Puerto Rico with my family during COVID, and was going to take it easy. And Carbon6 was my failed attempt at taking it easy. So I think it's interesting. We started to go to a lot of D2C shows recently.
Yeah.
And there's some big differences between D2C native brands where they have a concept, they build a brand, they're very proud. And then when those brands try to go sell on Amazon, they gotta learn the ropes on Amazon. Whereas Amazon sellers find a keyword or an opportunity and then build a brand to exploit that opportunity. I think Carbon6 was really the latter of those two, where we saw a huge market. And I was doing a bunch of investing stuff, and it became really apparent to me that wasn't going to be enough for me, and I wanted to operate and grow a business. And so everything that I looked at, I'd look a little deeper at the sector and the industry and see what the opportunity was. And the opportunity that we saw was you have $600 billion in annual sales on Amazon's platform, of which we estimated 5 or 6 billion is spent on software, automation, agency services, etc. And no one to this day even has 1% of that. So huge market that was a safe bet to continue to expand, with no Coke, no Pepsi, no Uber, no Lyft, so to speak, right? What we saw was there was a few companies that had built to some degree of scale, that seemed to be really well positioned for the new seller, and really built their brand around, I think, like the first leg of the journey with Amazon, which involved a lot of people without previous experience coming in, building a brand to, again, take advantage of the traffic that Amazon had created. What we didn't see was any company that was well positioned to provide a suite of services and software for what we call the professional seller. And what we hypothesized was that there was going to be a huge move upstream in terms of the consolidation of the revenue. And what you see is every year, less and less sellers are occupying more and more of that 600 billion. Saw an opportunity and built a business to try and serve that market.
Back when you started out, I believe it was a field of aggregators, hundreds of aggregators, and I think it was the height, wasn't it?
That was the other thing. So if you look at our first deck, it's like Thrasio, and I think Heyday had just raised like some crazy sum of money, 787 million or something nuts. So that was the beginning of it, and that was like all the rage. And then we went into the e-commerce gold rush, and we talked about the analogy we made was the picks and shovel companies were the companies that were the best investments back during the gold rush, and services and software are those picks and shovels for sellers. So we drafted off the success from a fundraising standpoint of the frenzy and the mania and the just irrational nuttiness that was happening on that side, with what we thought was a better business model long term. We still believe it's a better business model long term. So I think the stars aligned pretty perfectly for us to be able to do that. And then from that point, we didn't know how long the frenzy was going to last, so we knew we needed to move really, really quickly. And so today we're building more solutions than we're acquiring, but at the time it was a race to get revenue and get relevancy and take advantage of drafting off the success that the aggregators were having. And it was wild. I mean, I met a guy at the gym here in my neighborhood who he started an aggregator and raised like $80 million with a deck, just because he had a good background and everyone was giving everyone so much money. So it was you were noticeably in a frenzy time, and that was how we started.
Yeah, it's funny going back and taking a look. I had a chance to look at some aggregators' portfolios. Could never understand why they bought certain brands. Like, it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. But I'm still kind of curious. How did you get into Amazon? Like, you were in a completely different business.
Yeah, I mean, I there was, when I came down here, you've been to my neighborhood.
Yeah,
Norm.
Beautiful.
Thanks. When I moved down here 3 and a bit years ago, there were only 4 families that were younger, 4 people that were younger than me that I met initially in the neighborhood, and they were all Amazon sellers.
All right.
So, and then many of the investments I saw were the aggregators. And again, like as we looked deeper into it, and I would talk to these sellers, they had 50 tabs open on their computer all day to run their business. And 7 of those claimed to be all-in-one solutions, which as an outsider, I just found it to be fundamentally confusing. And talking to them and understanding that, again, most of the software had been built with a level of sophistication that was very helpful for the new seller, but maybe didn't serve their needs now. They were having to develop a lot of stuff in-house in their businesses, and it became obvious that somebody was going to someone was going to do this, and that it was really, really wide open. And I think Norm, like that previous business, I was training entrepreneurs. I was a terrible employee. I had many jobs growing up, never for longer than 3 weeks. I think I had like 60 jobs in and around my hometown in Connecticut. And when I started in that direct sales business, I started very humbly. I started knocking on doors, selling coupons for Domino's Pizza and Blockbuster Video. But there was a training program where you could do well and you could run your own business if you completed it. And what I found was that, working for myself really unlocked my ambition and my motivation. And then then we started training people how to run these businesses, and eventually took it, all over. I moved to England and Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Spain, Portugal, Italy, Poland. And today I have hundreds and hundreds of people running these businesses. And what I found was there's nothing that was more motivating to me personally, nothing that unlocked me more than training other people on how to be successful and run their own company. And so there was a lot of that language, obviously, for the Amazon seller as well. And we just thought, we thought it was, the other thing I think that was interesting that we saw, Norm, was that the barrier to entry, if we could build distribution into the Amazon community, it's difficult. If you have a Shopify app and you can just do a great job of SEO inside the Shopify app store, you can do really, really well. At Amazon, there are thousands and thousands of communities of people that have influence, and it's a really complex puzzle to try and solve, with all the relationships you need to have, and all the people you need to meet, and all the internationalization you have to do. I don't know. It looked like a challenge. It looked like a good opportunity, and that's how we got started.
So what kind of challenges are you facing right now?
I mean, the market was a huge challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the music stopped. And so everyone, musical chairs, and luckily we had a chair to sit on, meaning we had investors that had come in. I think I say oftentimes that our timing was perfect. Had we started a year earlier, we may be, we may have hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. And there's been articles that came out just over the weekend about this very, very topic. Had we started 6 months too late, we might not have been able to raise the capital in order to get the push off the line that we got from all the great acquisitions that we were able to do in the first 18 months. And 12 months ago, we were playing the game that you play as a startup in software. You grow at all costs, you burn money like crazy, but you grow. And if you grow, then you win. And when the market changed, it changed almost in an instant. It changed to responsible efficiency and growth, if you can grow while being profitable. So we had a $1 million burn a month a year ago. Now we're $250,000 a month in the positive. And we've done that while growing 5 to 7% monthly this year. So I think that was a huge challenge that we just got through, where we had to really adjust the mindset of the company, and we had to get leaner than we had been. Many of the acquisitions that we made, we had to, move on from some of their teams, and level up and bring more stuff, internally to Carbon6 Global. Those are huge challenges. The first 8-9 months of the year this year.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I had another podcast called I Know This Guy. And I was able to interview some really incredible entrepreneurs. And one thing they always had in common, and I'm going to go down, it's a different rabbit hole altogether, but they had failed, but out of the failure, they were educated or they learned. I call it fail to succeed. What about you? Like, have you ever had that hit that all of a sudden it was a killer hit, but you came back and you learned something from it?
Yeah,
failed to succeed.
I'm trying to decide which one to go with. Look, I mean, doing door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
It was in the winter in Boston, and we got paid $10 per card. They were $25. The person doing the sale got $10. In order to hit your goal, you had to get 10 yeses. In order to do that, you had to sprint around a neighborhood for 8 hours. Right? I mean, literally sprinting, not walking, sprinting, like bringing your lunch, sprinting. And if you crush it, 85 people say no to you. And Boston's like a tough place. It's, you're in Saskatchewan, it's like, come in, like have some tea. Like, even though I'm going to say no, I'm going to be nice to you.
Yeah.
Boston, it's like, get the F off my porch or I'm going to hit you. I mean, you take some, like it's snowing outside. You're falling as you slip on ice. I mean, it's a humble thing. You're embarrassed. You don't even want to tell your friends what you're doing for the first year. So I think like it was just it's a very humble start, filled with lots of failure. And then as I grow that business, I have thousands of people now, hundreds of thousands of people that we've interviewed haven't wanted to do that business. So I think my beginnings in business come from just a crazy disproportionate amount of rejection. And that you don't have a choice. What choice do you have other than to get really thick skin? When in that business, which is all face to face, when COVID first started, I mean, that was a really scary time. We talked to people face to face, millions of people a day. We have that business. We have millions of interactions a day, and all of a sudden, just the shoes just kept dropping every day. All of a sudden, Walmart said, we're in every Walmart in America. They said, you guys can't come in here and sell. All the charities started pulling. The telco companies pulled after that. So we were faced with what's going to happen. And we had hundreds of businesses that we had to go and find ways to secure PPP loans for. Like, it was just, that was a really crazy time. And we thought it was going to be it. And it was something that I'd been building for 18 years. We ended up getting through that. But I think that, and this, like, what you get, it's got to feed you, right? Like, the more messed up something is, like, the more I want to deal with it, and the more screwed up the situation is, the more motivating it is. Like, the more focused, you get, the more entrenched in it you get. And like, I think you got to really get excited about, like, getting hit in the mouth as an opportunity to show how tough you are, So I don't know if there's like a single event, but I think that I think that there's like acute events that happen all the time. And as you decide you're going to take on more responsibility and take on more, whether that's people that are working for you that depend on you, or investors, which, like, that's a whole nother, before this business, I'd never had an investor before. That's a whole different level of, like, pressure and have lots of, like, my closest friends that are invested in Carbon6. That's a whole nother thing. And all the acquisitions, and many people have earnouts, and they weren't planning on selling the business, and we got them excited about it. And so I think that within every day, within every week, there's if you're doing it right and you're pushing the envelope fast enough, you're having, like, near-death experiences with your business on a daily or weekly basis, and just learning how to navigate them in the best way. I can't remember the last time that, like, something's really, like, hit and hurt, because I think that the outer layer is pretty, before I started in that direct sales business, I hadn't worn shoes in 2 years. I was like a total hippie. And when you don't wear shoes, like, the bottom of your feet get really, really tough. Like, you can walk on just about anything. And I think that that's, like, what the outer layer of an entrepreneur, a seasoned entrepreneur, becomes as well, hopefully.
Yeah, I've talked about that before, where 20, 30 years ago, I wish I knew what I know now. Things that would keep me up at night, like not sleeping at all, complete insomnia, ulcers. And they literally would just, like, what? They still, like, they have an effect on you, but what was it? I was really upset and depressed at one point in my life. Some major things were happening. And a business guy that I knew just said, look, sun's always going to rise from the east. It's set in the west. Don't sweat it. It was so hard to take, but it's true. It's never, your mind's never, you always think the worst with every situation, and it never turns out to be the worst.
Yeah, I had a mentor one time who said, things are never as good as you think they are, and things are never as bad as you think they are.
Right.
And the sooner that you realize that, the more even kill you'll stay. I mean, it's exactly right, because when I think, when you asked me that question, part of where my brain went was, like, some of the biggest setbacks I had emotionally and mentally, but they weren't necessarily big things. They were just early, before I knew how to deal with stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. Little things 20 years ago when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, everything was the end of the world, right? Like it was the end of the world. And I think that there is some aspect of in moving the ball forward in your business. I think that you have to have the mindset that like every day is the Super Bowl or the Champions League final, or every conversation is the most important conversation you've ever had. But then if it doesn't go your way, learning how to just leave it and move forward as if, can I learn something from this? Great. I can make a commitment in this situation to do something different next time I'm in a similar situation. But other than that, there's absolutely zero utility in me taking this with me any further. I'm just going to let it fall off the back and keep running.
I would love to have you back and just talk about entrepreneurship one of these days. But today I was supposed to be talking about something else. Let's talk about Carbon6. And Carbon6 has a suite of apps, tools for the Amazon seller or for e-commerce sellers. Wally Smarter's on there, so for Walmart sellers. What was the first app that came out of Carbon6 and why?
What was the first? So there was different stages to the business. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first 18 months, we were buying businesses and raising money for the purposes of buying businesses and raising money, to be very candid. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there was a wave and we were trying to capture it. So our first acquisition I bought on my credit card. It was called Merch Wizard. It was for Merch by Amazon, which maybe some people might not even know what this is. But Merch by Amazon customers, and we bought it just to get the M&A motion figured out. It was small, nice, a good entrepreneur over in the UK. That was the first one we bought, but we didn't go to market with it. We really started our go to market last November, so towards the end of the year. And the first thing that we started that with was Seller Investigators, which is just a profit recovery. It's a 3P profit recovery business. We had a lot of relationships already. We had engaged, we started sponsoring events long before we had anything worth selling at the events, as part of that overall strategy of how do we build a distribution network when distribution is so decentralized, like unbelievably decentralized in the world of Amazon compared to other markets. So that was the first one that we came to market with. And we looked at we've been very careful, I would say, to not be very loud about anything unless we're positive that it's the best in the world, in which case we get really loud. So we looked at many other competitors, Seller Investigators, and there was just certain advantages that it had. It had a huge advantage on the tech that we saw, and then it had an even larger advantage on the labor side. You can't automate the opening of cases, so some aspect of it has to be human. And the founder of Seller Investigators, one of the co-founders, Rob, his wife is Filipino. He built the business while living over in the Philippines. They lived over there for 6 years. They have an incredible charitable organization over there in Cebu as well. It's very important people in the community, and the team that they had, and we knew would be an advantage that we would have forever. We also, and then so we go out and we start doing audits, and we see, okay, a lot of people signed up with other services that might have been better at sales and marketing than they were at fulfilling on that service. And so I think we 5 or 6x that business over the last year. The next business that we've really taken to market is PixelMe. PixelMe is the only ad tech platform on the planet where you can run Google, Meta, and TikTok ads directly to your Amazon listing with deep linking, attribution. Helps you skyrocket your organic rank while taking advantage of the brand referral bonus. So that was really 3 months ago. We launched the ability to optimize for conversion. So a lot of people have tried other services, other softwares, and just haven't been able to get the ROAS under control. I think part of it is just understanding that it's a ranking play. This is not a traditional PPC campaign where you're going to judge things based on tacos, although that's something that we offer inside the platform. We can get it to that point, and the way we get it to that point is by optimizing for conversion, which allows the Google campaigns to get smarter and smarter and smarter over time. Those are the two we've gotten the loudest about since, and then So Stocked is a tool that has thousands and thousands of users that, from an inventory management standpoint, allows you to replace spreadsheets with software and make great forecasting decisions. We've done a tremendous amount of work on that in terms of R&D. It now links up with NetSuite, integrates with NetSuite, and has really become a go-to for agencies, aggregators, and large sellers. And I could kind of go on and on and on, but I think we have many different tools. We're constantly iterating, have them in the lab, and then go out with one or two to get really loud about what we're working on more and what we're working on, doing development on others. And then the user experience will just start to get more and more and more integrated. So we launched a few weeks ago a single sign-on and a navigation bar where you have an app drawer and you can single click without having to go to other tabs. Again, the goal is to take, my buddies here in the neighborhood, there are 50 tabs, and get it down to 40, right? Of which we could occupy 10. And over the next few months, we'll roll out, unified billing, unified authorization, and more, with the vision really being 36 months from now, you and your team go into Seller Central and you go into Carbon6 and you have to go anywhere else.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard incredible things about seller investigators. Even at Pixel.me, I was just talking to your team about that. But for people that have never tried this, first, I wanted to mention, because I've seen this in our group where somebody said that companies like Pixel.me are against TOS.
Yeah.
100% not true.
Yeah, not. I mean, it'd be pretty crazy to build a business where Amazon is undeniably the master.
Yeah.
That we have to serve, and to throw that away. That would be pretty dumb. It would believing that would require believing that we are a company of idiots. That would be. Now, specifically what happened was we launched the optimization for conversion. One of our team members was fired up, sent out a message on Facebook that was not approved by our marketing department, with language that I wouldn't have used.
Mm-hmm.
And it riled up another company that I suppose would be considered a competitor. They then sent that out. They then sent out to their whole list and more, saying that we were against terms of service. We have since sent a cease and desist to this competitor. We are considering all of our legal options, but no, of course not. Like it's there's nothing against terms of service. We'll be announcing in the next few days, in fact, that the Emerald program we're launching. It'll get announced at Accelerate in a couple weeks. The Emerald program, where you can get notifications for third-party apps inside of Seller Central. Pixel.me was selected for that. We're one of, I think, like a dozen apps that's part of that. We're verified, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I had a lot of experience in business, but not in one where people will publicly attack like that. That was a new experience for me.
Yeah, all of a sudden I started hearing about that, and it's just like, what's going on? It can't be. But I'm glad you're here just to clarify it.
And what one can say that all publicity is good publicity. That might be true, unless it's about, but this could screw up your business because it's against Amazon's terms of service. So this would be a clear exception, I think, to that rule. Because again, it's not just the master that we have to, I hate to use that word. It's everybody's in the same boat. Nobody wants to get their account suspended.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we've been able to do amazing things with Pixel.me, and I think it's the piece of innovation that we think really signals to the market what they can expect from Carbon6.
Yeah, while you were saying that, my dog came in completely drenched from the lake and decided to shake all over. So,
do you know what's funny? About 10 minutes ago, we got chickens recently. We've never had. We have 3 children. We've never had pets, but we have chickens now because my wife, who's deathly afraid of actually that's an ironic word to use, the FDA, and tries to do everything she can to. So she wants to make so we'll have organic eggs, and the chickens were just over here doing their thing about 10 minutes before. So. Animal Kingdom with Norm.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, organic lunch with Norm.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, it is the bottom of the hour, and at the bottom of the hour, we got a bunch of people listening right now, a lot of new listeners. So we have something called the Wheel of Kelsey at the top of the hour. Today, we've got a great prize, but to enter this, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. Justin, what is that giveaway today?
So we're giving away 6 months of unlimited reimbursements for sell investigators for free. So it doesn't matter what size you are for the first 6 months. And this includes whatever we find in the look back. And we tend to find a lot in the look back.
Yep.
Even though we shouldn't find anything in the look back, we tend to find a lot in the look back. 6 months for free. And then 6 months for 2 ASINs on Pixel Me for free, done for you. Our team will do the service for you.
Wow. So just in case you don't know, you could be saving tens of thousands of dollars with just the first one. That's 6 months. With that look back, if you have never done that, you don't know what you've missed out on. I have had a client. Now this goes back 2 years ago, but he got $120 some odd thousand back from just going back and getting reimbursed. Now that's the most I've ever heard of, but typically people will find something, and it's incredible. And even if, thank you, Connie's here, by the way. Just she just brought me my cup of coffee. So, anyway, if you've never used it, or if you've even used other companies, this is the greatest test. Because what you're going to find is seller investigators is very good at finding just money that may have been left on the table. So it's a great prize, one way or the other.
If I could, so a few things there.
Yep.
Thanks, Chuck. That's great to hear. We launched an automation where we also take care of refunds. So everything that's refunded and not returned, or any problems with refunds, and refunds are a huge problem and seems to be growing. So first to market on that. And then also for larger clients, we'll not just notify you when the FBA fees are off, but we'll actually go and fight Amazon for that. For a large multi-brand account, we save them $50,000 a month on a go-forward basis by correcting the ASIN fee, the fees on 191 ASINs. And the most that we've recovered for a client so far this year, there's one client we've recovered $9.5 million for. So far on pace for $13 million.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so what a great prize. So if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry. And now let's go to a sponsor. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by SureGo Marketing. Ready to take your brand to the next level on TikTok and Instagram? SureGo Marketing specializes in helping entrepreneurs and coaches build profitable brands on TikTok and Instagram, and in less than 90 days. With SureGo Marketing, you can build your brand, create incredible video content, and increase leads without spending a single dime on ad spend. Visit SureGoMarketing.com today and elevate your brand. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay. So we were talking about this just for a second, but competition, the competitors, or how have you found competition with Amazon apps?
I gotta decide what I'm going to say. Weird, like odd, like there's a bunch of unwritten rules that don't necessarily serve the seller in all cases. I think that we're playing the role of a disruptor, right?
Yep.
And I think there's certain structural advantages that Carbon6 has. One of which is you can have a loss leader when you have more products to have people to put, that people will put in their carts. So like from a price perspective, we can be pretty aggressive, because even if we can give away 6 months for free of reimbursements. I don't know. One of your someone who is messaging on the bottom who said he's starting to use Pixel.me has a huge brand, and he's, I don't believe he's currently using Seller Investigators, to my knowledge. 6 months, that could be huge. That could be I don't know, a couple $100,000. But we just want to have conversations with people. Our North Star is we want to. It may or may not be you, Tony. We want to make as many people a Carbon6 customer as humanly possible, and there's plenty more conversations we want to have about different softwares and different solutions, both now and in the future. So I think that gives us a structural advantage, which if I were competing with us would be kind of scary, right? It's like we can come in and just drop the price of reimbursements, because if we lose money on reimbursements, that can still be a great business strategy for us. But if all we did was reimbursements, we can't. And so what does that mean? Not only can we drop the price, but we can also increase the level of service. We can go after a case that's 1 penny or $1, even if it costs us $4 to go out. It doesn't make any difference to us, because what we're trying to do is just build trust and build brand and create a network effect. Like I said earlier, it's difficult. It's a difficult world to distribute into, because there's so many different, as we're having this conversation, and many people who love and trust you are here in Singapore. There's someone else with not nearly as cool of a beard or production or has done such a great job raising his unbelievably good looking and funny and kids with great personalities. But like, this conversation's happening in other places, and we're constantly thinking, how do we create this network effect? We know that when someone has a good experience, they're going to tell a few people, and they have a bad experience, they're going to tell the whole world, or maybe their entire list. They're going to slander you too, in the case of the example we talked about earlier. So yeah, I think we're playing the role of disruptor, and I think that when you're playing the role of disruptor, and we're trying to argue on merit, we did this audit. Here's what we found. Here's what we can do going forward, right? Or other people are optimizing for clicks. We're optimizing for conversions. Here are 28 case studies showing why that matters. It creates interesting reactions.
Okay. Yeah. I have to agree with you with competition, not only from your end, but from this end. I've never seen competitors be so aggressive, to try to shut your listing down. If you're doing good, all of a sudden you're getting all this crap. You're getting fake infringement,
Totally.
claims. It's completely different than what I'm used to. And it only started when I first got into Amazon back in 13, 14. It was pretty friendly, a pretty friendly environment, but it's getting a little tougher and tougher and tougher, as more people get into it. But now let's talk about setbacks and mistakes. What do you see like brands making? What are the biggest mistakes or setbacks you see?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, I think that learning how to scale and learning how to hire and train and manage. And I think you see some people outsource way too early. And are a little too excited about like the lifestyle of like, I don't have to work very hard and the money's going to keep coming.
Yeah.
And I think that like maybe that worked in 2015 or 2016. I wasn't in the game then, but that's the like general, that the zeitgeist was just very different back then. And the amount of commitment that it takes today is a different level of commitment. The amount of sophistication it takes to run your business properly is just a different level. And so I think, adapt.
Okay.
Adapting to that. Number two.
Oh, it looked like you froze.
Sorry, man.
You're
Sorry,
frozen.
man.
You're back. You're back.
I'm back. I apologize for that.
No problem.
So I think the skills, the set of skills it takes to scale your business and scale your team are very different than the skills that made you first good at selling on Amazon. right?
Yeah.
So bridging that gap. And then I just think it's important to start with the end in mind, right? Like if your goal is to build a brand that's going to make cash flow for you, and it's something that you want to pass down to your kids, so with a seller, he's doing 100 million on Amazon, and he plans on passing it down to his kids. Well, his goals are very different than, I was playing tennis with a guy this morning, and he just sold his brand that was primarily D2C, $55 million linen brand that I think was roughly 90% on D2C.
Okay, we're just having a little bit of a problem with your connection there, Justin.
Sorry, Norm.
Yeah, it's just getting a little pixelated, and you're cutting out now. 100% perfect, the first 40 minutes. But let's give it a try again, because you look like it's fine now. You talked about scaling. There was a great book out years ago called Crossing the Chasm. It was about tech companies. How do you, do you have any suggestions for entrepreneurs who are just starting or just at that point where they need to scale? How do they do it properly?
Yeah, I think that if you're a person that doesn't have experience, I think you need to start by hiring someone that has experience. And I think that, very specifically for many Amazon sellers, if you're not going to be that person, if you're not that operations person, hiring someone that can be, and not being so worried about the price that person costs.
Right.
It's like the cost of not getting that right is going to exceed the cost of getting it right, or the opportunity cost you have by not getting the right person. So I think if that's not something that you have experience with, I think that finding someone who has experience, who's scaled a business, is a really important thing to do.
Yeah, I've heard, I've gone to a lot of events, and I've listened to people say, "Oh, how you hire a VA," and some of the times I hear things that I shake my head at. And again, this is just my own opinion, but trying to get somebody, like you just said, at the lowest cost. I always prefer to actually pay a little higher, because that person back, let's say in the Philippines, first of all, has to support a family. And if it's just a jobber, that's completely different. Like if you've just got a task, it's one time, one and out. But ideally, if you've got something that's going to take somebody 20 hours a week and grow, I'd rather even pay them the 40 hours a week, give them a whole bunch of training, and try to, build up that person. But the other thing is, so many people don't give the VA the tools to succeed. Like, first of all, cell phone, okay, let's check out your cell phone, your computer. What year is it? Your internet speed, super easy fix. And if you want to pay a few bucks an hour and they have a crappy computer, you might as well just, pay them 3 or 4 times the amount, because they're never going to get their work done. The other, like in the Philippines too, I don't do this right away. So I buy all this for the people that come on, whether they're new. If they've gone through our hiring process, we give them, we have a 3-month probation period. After that, if they've improved their weight, we take care of the computer. We have an agreement going into it. We'll buy them a computer right into it. They pay, or we pay for it, and they pay for the first 3 months just on installments. After that, we take care of the full thing and take care of the installments, but also a generator. Like, the Philippines is known for blackouts. Why are you paying somebody in an area that's going to have blackout? Why don't you pay for a generator for them? It's $1,000 or $2,000. It's not a big deal. And, for them, first of all, now they feel loyal and they feel secure. Security is everything. So for a family in the Philippines that doesn't know, like, $2 an hour, who's going to live on $2 an hour? 3, 4? If you can give, if the average wage for what they're doing is $4, give them 6. It's $6 an hour. Now they will, there's one thing I found with VAs, and always in the Philippines. I don't see it too much anywhere else. But have you ever noticed there's always a family emergency when you pay people really low? You know,
Yeah.
the family emergency is they got a job from somebody else who's paying them a decent wage.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
anyways, that's
Good.
just
That's
you know,
good. Love it.
something I've learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So last question, where do you see Amazon going in the future?
It's going to continue to go up. I think that the size of the exits are going to get bigger, larger and larger and larger. I think that because the barrier to entry is higher than it was, it takes a more dedicated person who's more intelligent with a better team. And I think one of the things that's fascinating, I was mentioning, I think it cut out, but I was playing tennis this morning with a friend who just exited from his linen brand, and they were doing 55 million or so, of which 90% was on D2C. He exited 6 weeks ago, and he's already starting product development for his next brand. And it won't be in bed linen. It's not going to be bed sheets, but it could potentially be pretty close. And just how unique that is, where you can exit and then do it all over again, and not have a non-competition issue. What that means is that professional sellers emerge from that, makes the barrier of entry for a new seller obviously much more difficult because there's well-capitalized people who know what they're doing. And I think that what you're going to see is a smaller and smaller amount of people controlling a higher and higher percentage of the sales on Amazon.
All right, very good. Kels, we got a couple questions. Yeah, be professional, Kelsey. Hit the button.
There we go.
We could try to do Morse code if you want.
Yeah.
Trying to get this in before the Jets.
Okay.
All right. This one is from Neil. He says, Adam Runquist did a video about your Google Ads service, and I want to try it for my new launch, but I only have one product. Do you have a cheaper tier for people like me with only one product?
Well, because you have the coolest, wish I was Mark Cuban, email me directly at justin@carbon6.io, and we will figure it out.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right. And from Tony, does SI have additional features compared to Gatita?
Let's just say a blanket company. Okay. A generic brand.
Look, I think I got to be really careful here. I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier, which was that we went out in the market and we didn't know what we're going to see. Most people were using a service. Some people were using it internally. And what happened was we started doing audits, and we were surprised at what we found. We do offer adjustments for weights and dimensions. I don't believe anyone else is offering that. We do offer, refunded, not returned. I know that there's other companies that will offer those things if you ask, but with us, you don't have to ask. So I think, like, again, going to the structural advantage idea that I mentioned before, we can afford to do it all, and we can't afford to not be the best, where others might look at it and go, we have to figure out how to make money. I also think that there's like some real, we're VC backed. VCs care about growing top line. Others might be private equity backed, and private equity generally cares about margins. So I think there's probably like a logical connection of the dots that one could make there. What I will also say is, like, one of the most hidden costs in reimbursement services, and I want to be very clear, this is I'm not directly talking to any competitor, or just what we've seen in doing audits and looking deep into accounts, is that reversals, oftentimes the success fee isn't reversed. So what this means is, I tell Amazon we lost this missing inbound, $2,000. Amazon says, you're right, we don't see it. Here's your $2,000. I take my pound of flesh for that as a reimbursement company. Amazon then finds the inventory, right? They then find the inventory. They then claw the money back from you that they reimbursed, And from what we've seen, a lot of times the reimbursement companies are not then reversing their success fee, which can take whatever percentage you're paying and skyrocket over the course of the year. I don't, the company you asked about specifically, Gatita, like I think they've done a great job. I mean, they've helped sellers recover more money than anybody on the planet so far, including us. We aspire one day to be the size that they are with seller investigators. I want to be very careful.
All right, very good. See, Near has a comment.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of comments as well.
Yep.
So from Chuck, he said that he's used seller investigators and got about $12,000 or more found by them recently. Near was saying that he's using it for many of his customers and that he's found a lot of money, $200,000 and more, in just one account. And then I also asked the audience what their favorite tool is, and Near says PixelMe, seller investigators, and PPC Entourage. So awesome. Thanks everyone for the comments, and
thanks, Tim.
All right, very good. Okay, so this is the last opportunity you'll get to sign up for the Wheel of Kelsey today. So hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry, and it's for a great prize. That's 6 months of Sellers Investigators. And what was it for, PixelMe?
6 months free for 2 ASINs.
Perfect. All right. So now, Kels, let's go to our final sponsor, and then we'll come back with the wheel. This episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Rebate. Attention sellers and brand owners, want to reach more shoppers and boost sales? Rebate's platform connects sellers with shoppers seeking great deals on new products. They make it easy to offer promotions, handle rebates, and ensure seamless redemptions. With countless reviews from satisfied customers, Rebate is the go-to solution to increase your sales. Visit rebate.com today and start reaching more shoppers. Now let's get back to the show. Justin, this is the first time you've seen the wheel.
I'm excited about it.
Oh, okay, but just think of this. Okay, at the next event in your booth, we'll have a live Wheel of Kelsey with Kelsey actually Velcroed onto the wheel, and we can give him a spin.
Let's do it. I'm in. It reminds me of that scene in The Wolf of Wall Street a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, very good.
Everyone likes that movie.
Yeah, everybody. Okay.
Right. Here we go. Here's the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
Okay.
Alrighty. So thank you everyone for entering today's Wheel of Kelsey. I'm going to spin these up and let's see who today's winner is. We do this every single episode, and make sure you come back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And it's
all right. Cool hand, Luke.
Cool hand.
Congrats.
All right.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Luke. Make sure you email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com.
All right. That was a great one. Good prize, Luke. All right. So that's it. Justin, you were awesome.
Thank you for having me, Norm.
I really hope you do
appreciate
come
it.
back and talk about entrepreneurship. I'd love to be
Anytime.
able to. Perfect. All right. We're going to remove you for a second. We'll be back in the waiting room in 2 seconds.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks again. I hope you learned something today. We went all over the map, and we touched on the Carbon6 apps and why Justin got involved with it, but more importantly, a little bit about his journey. I really wanted to bring that across in today's episode because it is incredible. Carbon6, again, just came out of nowhere, and now it's becoming a dominating force in the Amazon or Walmart or e-commerce world. Interesting to see where they're going to go. Okay, everybody. So I think this is it for today's show. Kelsey, anything to say?
Just a big congratulations to Cool Hand 99. We got a bunch of congrats coming in from the audience, from the Beard Nation. So thank you everyone for entering. And make sure you join our Facebook group. That's Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective. I think we're almost at 4,000 members now already. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. I think we started that maybe 2 years ago. So it's been great seeing it grow and grow. So thank you everyone. And
it was a little bit different than my original social media platform, which just had a couple tattoos and a couple surfboards.
Oh, your first Instagram that you had? Yeah. It was pretty rough. Maybe we'll talk about that on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's it. Thanks, Kels. All right. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Like I say at the end of every podcast, we can't do this without you. Our community is awesome. And if you like to join, just join us over at Facebook at Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast or collective. That's what I should say, collective. And once again, join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thanks a lot, everybody. Enjoy Labor Day, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Lunch with